Welcome back to another video. Harry Lewis is set to sign for Carlisle, or by the time you've seen this, has signed for Carlisle. I'm going a bit early because, it could be 12, it won't be 12 o'clock, it could be 8, 9 o'clock by the time it gets out, so I'll just get it out and I'll change the title when he does sign, because it's inevitable that Harry Lewis is going to be a Carlisle United player for the remainder of this season and maybe for a couple more years as well. What are your thoughts on that? Like the video, if you do go on to subscribe if you're new, all support is massively appreciated, but this is huge. This is a goalkeeper for us who's been very influential. I have my opinions on him, and more recently than the whole course of his Bradford City career, because he's been a very impactful player, very important player, and a player who has been very influential, not just on the pitch, but off the pitch, sort of linking the playing 11 to the fans, which we don't really have players like that. You don't have players like that in modern football, so he's a fantastic asset to the fans, not just a club. When you have a player who performed like he did last season, you can get a couple $100,000 for him, then it is a fantastic asset. But for the fans, what we saw with Harry Lewis was his personality. You don't see footballers like that anymore, and it's very limited, very few players who are like that and do connect. Even though he's been poor this season, and I'd say he's been poor, if not, in that region from poor to bang average, that sort of area. I don't think he's been one of the best goalkeepers in League Two this season. Last season I thought he was second best to Vigor, if not the best. Them two are going at hammer and tongs. They were fantastic, them two. And he's a keeper who's been linked to replace Harry Lewis. Now, I'm not like one of these, Twitter analysis who are great accounts who, when they're talking about players going and coming, they can go and name 10 players who can go and replace that player. I don't know. I've seen people link Vigor. I think he'd be a fantastic signing. Really good with his feet. Great shot stopper and the best goalkeeper in League Two last season. I thought it was a bit of a strange move to go to Burnley when he knew he was going to be a backup, but you can't turn down that money, can you, if it's provides stability for your family. But wouldn't be a big move in terms of the region with Bradford and Burnley, so that'd be something that he could look at. But I'm not sure if he'd want to take that move when he's got that cushion of that money, and being at Burnley with having a very easy role to play, being a number 2 or number 3 at Burnley. So I'm not sure if he'd want to come, but it's a great suggestion if we could go and get him, because he is a top League 2, bottom half, top end League 1 goalkeeper. I think he's brilliant for Vigouroux, so he'd be a great player, but I don't think he'd want to come. And then Ben Garrett's a good option, but more as a backup, I think, for us. He hasn't played a lot of football recently, but around 4 or 5 years ago, he was a very good League One goalkeeper. So I think he'd be a good option, but maybe if Lewis was still here as backup to Lewis to provide that competition. I've seen people saying, well, Colin Doyle's good competition for Lewis. He isn't. He did all right last night, but he didn't have a shot on target. He didn't have a save to make. And throughout the course of the EFL Cup games that he's played in, I think 2 of the games he's played in had red cards. Derby didn't have a shot on goal last night. I don't think they're very competitive games that Doyle's had to play in. But again, for the character that he has, and to be a goalkeeper coach, and I don't know how he is as a coach, but he's certainly not good enough to provide that competition for me anyway. So, and definitely shouldn't be starting. So if Lewis does go tonight or he goes tomorrow morning, we need to have a signing by Friday at least, because the player who comes in has to be able to be a competitive player to start in League Two. Do I have confidence in the board, your Sparks and the scouting team, and then the managerial coaching staff to be able to bring in the right players? I don't think I do, because when you look at the recent summer windows and January windows mainly, we've balls them all up. Also Derby, he were an undisclosed fee. I mean, that's just ludicrous how you can spend a fee on him. When we've spent minimal amount of money, we've always spent it poorly, and I have trust that we would reinvest it well. I think Lewis, when you look at his career in general at City, before City, didn't play many games. Obviously it was more of a Hughes signing, it always felt, because he had him at Southampton. But Lewis spoke about his career at Southampton and previous to that, how he felt like giving football up because he was 3rd, 4th choice when he had a chance to get into a team and fight for his place to start in a couple of games because of injuries. They went and brought in a another goalkeeper to add to that depth, so he didn't have to play. So every time he had a chance to go and get a bit of game time, a new goalkeeper came in. So it felt like giving football up. He spoke about that, his mental health issues at Southampton. And then obviously in the summer it came about, but he didn't take to the playoff defeat to Carlisle very well. And obviously he had the car incident with the speeding fine. I don't know if it was to him or someone else. I can't remember how it went, so or what it was all about. But there was something around that. So obviously with that, the Barnsley and everything that I've just spoke about, it's put him into this season not in the best frame of mind to perform to the level that he did last season, because there has been a big drop-off, in my opinion. I think there's been a big confidence decrease in him. I don't think he's the same confidence player that he is. There's a few crosses, certainly in the last 5 to 10 games, even from the start of the season, that have come into the area. He don't want to claim them, and it looks like he's got glue on his feet. He don't move off his line, and to create chances from that. I don't think many of the goals that have gone in recently are mainly to do with him. I think there's parts of his game that he could do better to try and save the shot, to get a better percentage of saving the shot. But I wouldn't be blaming them all on him. But this season he has made a lot of mistakes, and you could make an highlights reel of mistakes. But I don't just want to concentrate on this season. I do think this season you've got to look at it, the presence, the confidence, the drop off, everything around that. I think you've got to look at that and say, on current form, is it good to try and cash in on him? Because if it keeps declining, then in the summer it might be harder to get a bit of profit from him, and we don't do that. I keep seeing people on Twitter and social media and everywhere saying, we're a selling club, we have no ambition. Well, I agree with the no ambition. I don't see what our plan and structure is and project, apart from getting in League One so Whoop can get his profit back and not lose much more on the club, and they can sell it then, because the money will have gone up by being in a better league. That's all I see. But if we do start to bring in your Youngs and your Lewises and those type of players, and then when the offers come in for the right amount of money, you accept them, and then you keep earning all this money, you keep making profits on players, and you keep reinvesting that, you're then looking at being a bit of a Peterborough, a bit of a Plymouth, a bit of a Brighton and Brentford at the early stage, that the seller an Ollie Watkins to go and bring in an Ivan Toney, that sort of a thing, and you keep developing and coaching players. I don't have confidence we can do that, and that's my problem that I have. I don't have faith that we can go and replace a Jake Young with a player like who costs a lot cheaper, and we've made that profit, and then we develop him and he goes on to be a Jake Young again. I don't think we've got the scouts to do that, because it's been proven that over the last 30 signings that Gents made, how many have been good signings, how many have gone on to make an impact, how many of them can you say have been a successful signing and not flopped? There's been way more flops. It came from, I think it came from Alan Nixon, but then when it became more credible to me was when Mike Keegan put it. I think he works at the Daily Mail. He covers mainly the more elite transfer news, but he did put a bit of lower league transfer info. Bradford City's number one, Harry Lewis, expected to sign for Carlisle today, viewed by some as best in League 2. Undisclosed fee. Carlisle having a go and trying to make a fist of it and staying up in League 1, but looking like they're building a better League 2 side to go back up with. So it's an interesting one, isn't it? I think I don't know where I sit on it. I think if I go back to this time last year and Lewis were going to Carlisle, I'd be distraught, because don't get me wrong, I don't show my emotions well. And so all you'll see is criticise. He doesn't like Harry Lewis. I do. I love him. I think he's probably my favourite Bradford City player in recent years, because he just connects to the fans like no other player can, no other player does, because it's real, it's genuine connection for the love of the club and the fans. Jamie Walker's doing it a bit, not quite to the same way that Lewis has done it, but still connecting to the fans, which you love to see, and that always means something. And then you've got your Brad Allardyce, who show it more on the pitch by grit and determination and that sort of work ethic. So you've got 3 different players there who all connect to the fans. But with Lewis, it was unique. It was something that's never been done before, where it's just his overall personality, his overall aura in interviews and on the pitch, before the games, talking to fans, just everything around his personality. It was just all genuine, and it was him, and we all bought into that. And it was a great. If it is over and it's all done and official by the time you're watching this, it was fantastic to have a player like Harry Lewis play for Bradford City, and I wish him all the best if he goes to Carlisle. It's a shame it's Carlisle, but you can't blame him. You know, he's got he's got a life, and he's got to put that first. And if it's a better footballing career move as well, why not go for it? It works for both parties if we can get an adequate replacement. And I do think he is replaceable. He's a player you can improve and you can get a profit from. So I'm all for it. For me, I think when you're looking at a goalkeeper, we don't need Lionel Belair. You know, I mean, that wouldn't go down well if we had a goalkeeper like Lionel Blair, because he's dead. You don't need someone who's going to be tippy tapping around his goal line and passing out from the back under Graham Alexander. We don't need that. So that trims it down. I'd be looking at a player who's a talker, he's a leader in goal, claims crosses, and he's a good shot stopper. They're the priorities. You know, presence, leader, shot stopper. That's all you need. You know, you don't need someone who, like Lionel Blair when he was alive, tippy tapping around. You know, like Onana, if player springs to mind. You know, brilliant with his feet, can't save a Word document. You know, it's terrible. So, yeah, I think Lewis will always go down as a great servant, a great personality, and like I say, for that, I wish him the best in his future and hope that it works out for him wherever he goes. So let me know your thoughts in the comments down below on Harry Lewis departing Bradford City for Carlisle, all but done, and obviously by the time you've seen it, it might be done. Like the video if you did do so, that is massively appreciated if you do. And subscribe if you're new as well. We're trying to get to 300 subscribers, so again, all the support is massively appreciated. Have a good one.